kick us off. So welcome to our Getting Started with Zoom. I am Jackie Patanio at the Staten Island Borough office, and I have a whole bunch of my teammates here. So in the back channel, we have Contessa from Special Ed, Dave from Teaching and Learning, Jill from Teaching and Learning, Liz, Special Ed, and I believe Mary Grace will be joining us from Teaching and Learning at some point. So what they'll be doing is helping man the chat. So as we move through, they can either just, answer your questions or stop me in between what we are doing. So we're going to just kind of cover the basics today and what the purpose is of Zoom if you haven't used it before, and we'll do a little bit of experimenting together. So what I'll do is I'm going to start off by sharing my screen. And again, I'm just going to say that I do have a child in the house. So if I have to mute myself at any point in time, it's just to kind of bring the noise down with the TV or the playing. So I'm going to share my screen. All right. Actually, I just did share computer sound, optimize for video clips. Perfect. Uh-oh. Hang on, everyone. I have to allow my computer sound. Okay. So we are here. So can I just get a yes or a thumbs up on your screen? Let me know that you see my screen. Okay, good, good. Excellent. All right, so what we're gonna do is we're going to have a look at the DOE, the agenda first, because like I said, everything that you're going to need is on here. So this is the agenda link, which is what we're on right now. This is a slides link. Just been compiling. I did it mostly for with the purpose of giving it to parent coordinators, but we'll be building it out with some of the ins and outs of using Teams, Meet, and Zoom for video conferencing. So that's what this slide deck is, and it also has some of the resources that we're talking about today. But the idea is to kind of keep everything in one place and also be giving the same message to everybody who is encountering these platforms. So what you should have done already is click here to sign in, and the very last option is for Zoom. And then these are the resources that we will be talking through today. So for those of you who have not used the DOE Zoom before, the DOE has their landing page, which is linked to the agenda, and it has pretty much all the information that you're going to need to get yourself started. So it has the directions from the computer and then from the mobile app. The most important thing that you're going to have to do is to connect your account with the DOE. So the DOE bought the enterprise version of Zoom. So when we log in with our schools.nyc.gov account, we have unlimited access to the enterprise features. So this is where you're going to go. So you type in nycdoe.zoom.us. Again, you could simply type that into a browser up here, or you can click on it from here. But what this will do is this is going to open up a page for you that says, that'll ask you to join, host, or sign in. If you have not configured your account, so it's the very first time that you're using the DOE Zoom, you're going to have to go over here to where it says sign in and configure your account. So again, back over here, this is going to give you some of the information on what it is that you need to do. So I'm already signed in. And I've configured my account, so I can't give you a play-by-play of what you're going to see, but the information here should help you. And I believe that I do have a video on what it looks like prior to signing up for it. So once you're here, you would click sign in. And again, if you haven't configured it, you'll go through these steps that say, do you want to merge your account? So you would say, yes, I want to merge my account. And it just asks you to verify your credentials. And then it'll send you an email to your DOE account. And then you would click the link. And what it does is it opens up this landing page for you. So this essentially is where you're going to do everything and where all of your stuff lives for your DOE Zoom. You'll notice that over here it has the DOE logo, which is really important to note so that you know you're in the DOE version of Zoom. Also, if I look up here, it has the web address connected directly to the DOE enterprise account. All right. So this is the back end. I'm going to click on profile because it brought me directly into meetings. So over here on the left, when I click on profile, I added my picture again. I need to have visual cues as to which account I'm in. So I'm going to strongly suggest that you put an image, an icon, an avatar in here so you know that you are in the correct account and that it is you. So like I said, it doesn't have to be you. It can be an avatar, but you will see a gray head and you'll click change and you'll just upload a photo. All right. It also gives the location. So that whole component I just mentioned about connecting and merging your account, it takes the information that the DOE has on you. So my present work location is this, and that is what I'm connected to. Okay. And then it just goes through some of the other personal components for me. We each have a unique Zoom room. So for anyone who was using a Google Meet inside of Classroom, that was something that we talked about in our session yesterday, and you might have used before. Your Google Meet inside of Google Classroom, you had a unique URL that was assigned to your Meet. This is similar to that. You have a unique URL that is for your personal meeting room. So you can just keep using the same link for people to come in and sharing that out with folks. Again, just some of the information, this is all pre-populated for you. Your meetings can go up to 300 people. So that's why, you know, in thinking about which and what you're using it for, 300 people is a lot. You might not need to have it 300 people, but for people who are in high school, this might be something, a capacity that you might need. Especially now, since if you haven't migrated over to the enterprise Google domain, Google Now Meet, you can only have 100 people. But again, this depends on the crowd that you have and how many people you need. So this is your profile. I'm going to toggle away from this and I'm going to head on over to my meetings. So now this is where we're doing most of our work and our scheduling. I have my upcoming meetings and you see them here. This is today. This is what we're in right now. It lets me know that I'm in here. I have this icon and I could obviously end it from right here, which I will not do. And then I also have recurring meetings. So you could set up meetings that are scheduled to go for a certain amount of time. So at any point in time, I can start these or I can make modifications to them as I go along. So we'll just walk through briefly up here. We'll see the previous, these are previous sessions that happened this past week. My personal room. Again, I mentioned to you the URL that is for my room. This is my personal room URL that lives here. And then we have meeting templates, which we're not getting into, but we're going to schedule a meeting right now. So to schedule a meeting, we click right here. And then we just go through the steps of setting up what we want it to look like. So really think about, like, you know, maybe how you use Google Calendar or how you use your Outlook calendar. You're just putting in the detailed information that tells the audience about what this meeting is about. So this meeting here might be called Zoom, let's call this Zoom PD session number 2. And then I'll give it a description, again, based on who might be attending. And I'll say this is a follow-up Zoom PD session number 1, and will be a more advanced. And then I come down, I decide what date. So I click on my calendar. I will schedule it for next week. Okay, and I can pick the time. So just so you know, this again is for your participants. You can say that it starts at 2:00 p.m., But if you needed to move the meeting and it started 15 minutes later, 15 minutes earlier, it doesn't matter. You could start this meeting whenever you want. It's just letting the folks know who are coming that this is the time that it starts. Same thing with your duration. So you might say the meeting is an hour, but if it goes over the hour, it's okay. It's not like you're going to be cut off. This is just part of the planning process for whoever you're pushing this out to. You have it set with the time zone automatically. It picks up where you are. And then this is the recurring meeting. So if this is something that I'm going to be doing on a weekly basis, I would check off recurring, and I could decide what type of recurrence is going to be. So it defaults to daily, but I could change it to weekly, right? And again, we get a little bit more granular as we go down. It repeats 1 week, so every week on Tuesday, and it's going to end by November 2nd. So I can make some modifications to this. I'm going to leave it weekly. I'm going to have it recur once a week on Tuesdays, and I'm going to have it end by, I'm going to have it go for the rest of the year. So until December. All right. You could also have it after a certain amount of occurrences. So instead of having it end on a date, it'll end after you have 7 meetings. Again, it's up to you. It's all about what the purpose of your meeting is. But I'll leave it as December 29th. Registration is required. You can turn this on, and what will happen is when your attendees get this link to come on, they will have to register for it. So they'll have to actually put in their DOE email address in order to be able to get in. This is not something I use. I don't have a need for it, but you can always turn that on or off, but it might not be something that you're going to need, especially with students and families. I don't think it's necessary. This is automatically on. So if you are moving through Zoom and you see something that is grayed out, just like see how my mouse is hovering over, and I have a gray sort of like no sign, that means that you can't make a modification to this. These are things that are already on for you and are locked by the central domain. So the enterprise, whoever's in charge of this has certain permissions that are not changeable by us. Those are those items that you hover over and you won't be able to change. You can decide how video is set up when you come into the meeting. So maybe when you came into this meeting, you might have been asked, do you want your video to be on? Or do you want your sound to be on? You can decide if you want participants to come in with no video, or do you want them to be able to come in automatically with video? Again, with students, you might want it to be on automatically. Otherwise, for adults, you might want it off, because I want you to have the opportunity to say, I don't want people to see me today, or, I want to turn my camera on when I want to turn it on. Same thing with audio. You have the option to allow folks to be in by phone, be in by computer audio only, or both. You just have to think about your audience. You're probably going to want to leave it as both. Okay. Your meeting options. So I have this on, enable join before host. So what this should do, you're going to probably want to keep it off. I have this on so that my teammates, they should be able to join before me. But this sometimes is a little bit tricky and doesn't let people come in. But you can have this on, or you can turn it off. I'm going to turn mine off. And this automatically happens. Again, I mentioned to you about things that you can't change. Mute participant upon entry is automatically done. So you're coming into a meeting, you're muted, end of story. Okay. And then down here, when we do our breakout rooms, I'll show you a video. But the beauty of Zoom is that you have breakout rooms. And what you can do with breakout rooms when you're in a Zoom, in an impromptu Zoom or a scheduled one, as a facilitator, you can set up breakout rooms for your participants. They could be automatic, where it's just random people get pushed out, or it could be pre-assigned, and you can do that right here. So if I wanted to pre-assign my groups, I can start doing that right from here. I'm not going to get to that right now. because I would like to show you what the groups look like inside of the Zoom. This is a little bit trickier, and I don't necessarily want to touch on this right away, but I just want to let you know that it is here. You do have the opportunity to do these pre-assigned. Then you have the alternative host. So I have mine, it automatically comes out as Richard Tuda and Jackie Guerreri on my team and Amory. But the alternative host will be somebody else who can come into the Zoom and is obviously an alternative host. So they could start the meetings or be the host of the meeting. And then you have the language interpretation. This is a newer feature. This would be somebody who's coming into your meeting and is slugged as an interpreter. I am not fully versed in this. This is, like I said, newer, but this is something where if you had an interpreter, you can invite them in and it would help translate the language, or they would be doing the translations through here. Again, new feature, never used it, but it is there for you if it's something you'd like to explore. So once we're done creating our event, right, I'm all done. I come down to the bottom, I click save, which is very important. Otherwise, you will have lost everything that you've done. You now have your event card. Okay, this is all the information that we need to push out to participants. So we have the title, the topic, the description, the time, your meeting ID, your passcode, your waiting room is on, the direct invitation link, and all the other information that you need. Remember, I said before, you can start this meeting whenever you want. So if you decided you want to start it now, you could start it now. Or if you needed to, you can edit this meeting right from here. And you'll also be able to edit it once you go back to the other page. So what I like to do next is I like to click on copy invitation. This is a recurring meeting, so you're going to see that you have all of those dates, right? You can copy this entire message and share it out with somebody, or what you can do is to kind of cut down on all of the stuff that is in here. You could simply come down right over here, see where it says join meeting, and you have this URL. A lot of times what I like to do is just copy this information right here, copy it, paste it into a calendar invite, and send it out this way, so that they know that this is the direct link they could click on. Or if they were in the Zoom app, they can just type in the meeting ID along with the password. So this information is the most important information that you're going to need when getting the meeting invites out to folks. Okay, so I'm going to head back over to my meeting, so I can click here or I can click over here. All right. And what I'll show you is that you'll see these are the recurrences that I have now, right? So it tells me 1 out of 15, 2 out of 15. So think about what you're doing with your students, and are you setting up recurring meetings? Are you setting up recurring sessions for families? It's really easy to just kind of get things up and running this way, instead of, you know, recreating every time. The other item that you can do is you can just kind of give out your personal room ID that way and say everybody meet at 1 o'clock on Tuesdays, but this helps keep everything nice and orderly. Right? What I'm going to do right now is I'm going to go in and I'm going to make a modification to this and change it from occurrence to just a one-time deal. So instead of clicking start, I'll click edit. And I'm going to either edit this occurrence so I can change just the one meeting, or I can edit all occurrences. So that's up to me. And I'm going to come down right here, and I'm going to uncheck this where it says recurring meeting and go back down to click save. All right. And then we'll head back over to where it says my meetings, and you'll notice that it's now gone. And all I have is just that one time. All right. So it's all about, you know, deciding how you're running your meetings and creating these events as detailed and as effectively as you possibly can. So if I wanted to create an impromptu meeting, instead of sort of setting things up formally like I just did, I can come up here to the top right, see what this right here, and I can click with video on or video off. I would obviously click the video on. It's not going to let me do it right this second because it's going to say I'm inside of another, let's see if it'll let me do it. Yeah, I'm already inside of another meeting. So I'm not going to leave the one that we're in, but you do have the ability inside of here to just start creating these, creating a meeting at any point in time. So you don't have to go through the whole process of scheduling a meeting. You could just simply go on over and create a meeting on a whim. So you can just go over and do that at any point in time. You could also join a meeting from here as well. So if somebody didn't give you the link, you can come over here and you can type in the personal ID. Like I mentioned to you before in my room. Let me go back over. I'll just go over to it. See, I have my meeting ID. What you would do is the person would put in the meeting ID, and if there is a password associated with the meeting, the password would probably be prompted once you put it in and you click join. All right. So the idea behind this is that with the password protection, your video conferences are secure, so you can't have outside folks coming in. That's also the point of the waiting room, so that in case somebody jumps in or tries to get in that you don't know, you don't have to admit them. So when you guys were all coming in, you got a notification that said, please wait for the host to admit you. That was me kind of double checking who was coming into the room. Okay. So I see Rachel, for students to join, they would need, so students will be joining this with anybody could join your room. Okay, you do have the ability, that again, that's the point of having the waiting room. You could have folks come in that are not using a DOE email or using nycstudents.net accounts. You can have that happen. However, to get the full functionality, students might benefit from logging in with their nycstudents.net account. Okay, so they can technically use any Gmail, any email to get in, but we are encouraging them to use their nycstudents.net account. Same thing with you as the DOE employee. You should be using your schools.nyc.gov account to go into meetings and to obviously merge your account so that you have full functionality and you're using, you have all the bells and whistles that we have on here. So I'm just looking at the chat on another computer. Can the host view the breakout rooms if they choose? Yes, so that's the fun part. We're going to get into that in a minute. We're going to go into, I'm going to come back into our chat. Just give me a minute. Come back into our, all right. So up here, you guys can see it on my screen. So up here on the top of my screen, I have my toolbar, right? I have more controls than you do as the participant. So this is what you'll see as the host of a meeting in your DOE account. You will have all of these various controls. And if I click on more, I have more controls that I can work within, okay? But again, as the participant, and as your students will be, they won't have all of those features. So you'll see at the bottom of your screen, all you really have is mute, start video, and then you'll have participants chat and share, okay? So it is very limited, but you can decide if you want folks to have certain, certain roles. So what I can do as the host in this case is I can come on over, let me open up my participants so you can see. Okay, so let me admit Mary Grace. So what I can do, see how I have my, my list over here. What I can do is I can come on over to any of my participants. Let's go over to, let's see, Liz, okay? I can click on more. I can chat directly with her. I can ask her to start a video. I could switch over control of this. So I'm the host presently. If I decide I need to leave this meeting and I want to give full control to somebody, I can decide Liz is going to be the host. I could also make her a co-host. So a co-host just means that Liz will have some extra features. She won't have full reign, but she will have some capabilities that anybody who's just a regular participant won't have. And what will happen is when I click make a co-host, Liz, I'm going to click yes, she's going to get a notification on her end that says Jackie has now made you a co-host. Okay. Whereas everybody else is just simply a regular guest. Liz is now my co-host. Okay. Another thing that I wanted to bring your attention to was you as the participant at the bottom of your screen, right? You should all see that you have the chat bubble, the chat feature. So you're able to click on that chat. Me, I have it up top here because I am I'm doing the sharing. But you have the chat feature on the bottom of your screen. What you also have in there, when you click on participants, if you click on the bobblehead that's right here, so yours will look different than mine, but it's usually 2 heads and it says participants. You should see that there's a raise hand feature. The raise hand, so what I just did was I'm on another computer so I can demonstrate it. What I did was on my other computer, I raised my hand because I'm a participant in there. And you see on my end, now as the host, I see that the other Jackie has a question. So I could say, and again, if I'm moderating, all right, I know that this student or this parent has a question, I might ask them to go into the chat and type in their question, or I might say, please unmute your mic and share whatever it is that you want to share. And again, when you're in the participant area where you clicked raise your hand, you'd go back over and it says lower hand. So just be mindful that you're probably going to want to lower your hand. See, my hand went away. I tend to just leave it up the whole time, and then I'll get called on by the presenter. They're like, you have another question? I'm like, nope, just forgot to lower my hand. But you have those features when you click on participants, you say raise hand, and that information is over there. Okay. One of the other things that I know that, so things will look different sometimes on a Chromebook versus another device. So on the Chromebook, and I know I'm on a Chromebook on the other side, I have the ability to rename myself. So if I click on next to my name, you'll see that there's like, anytime there's a blue icon, you'll see that, hold on a second, check. There are different, so right over here, if I go over to Liz, like I can click on these, and like I said, you can just kind of start changing things. If I come to myself, I can come over here, click more, and I can rename myself over here. All right, so maybe I'll just make it Jackie P. You should be able to do that. If you can't do it, it could be that it is a device thing. I do know that sometimes we run into those issues. Different things happen on different devices, but just know that that is there as something that you can do. And one of the other features that I forgot to mention that is probably one of the most important is that you have the ability to mute all. So think about when you're in a meeting and, in Google Meet, you're like, oh, David, please mute your mic. Everyone, please mute your mic. Liz, I think your mic is on. You have the ability in here to just click mute all or unmute all. So again, one of the pluses to using Zoom and one of the reasons we love it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to close this out, okay? And then I'm going to just quickly show you how I changed my background and why you might do background changes. And then we'll go into our breakout rooms. So over here, if you see at the top of my screen, it says stop video. So next to it, you have a little arrow or a caret that's pointing down, or if you're looking at your screen, when you're the host, it'll be at the bottom and the arrow will be pointing up. So when I click this, okay, it says choose virtual background. Now again, if you're on a Chromebook, you're not going to see this, okay? And some computers, based on their the updates and everything, you might have this work easily, or you might run into some issues. But if I click choose virtual background, I get this menu. So virtual backgrounds are already pre-slugged for you. You have the Golden Gate Bridge, you have the grass, and you have the earth. Or you can have none. And then you could see my beautiful kitchen. But these backgrounds that are down here, these are backgrounds that I added myself. So one of the reasons you might add a background could be based on the content you're teaching, could be because you don't want people to see your house. It could be based on a mood. It could be based on a theme, whatever it is. Backgrounds can be used in a multitude of ways. And really think about your students. Again, it might not be something that's done right away, but giving them an opportunity to maybe create backgrounds themselves, to maybe express either how they're feeling. It could be a social emotional thing where maybe they're not comfortable with the house and they don't want others to see where they live. They might want to put up a background. But again, just different approaches to how backgrounds can help with, again, social emotional, or thinking about it with digital norming. So you also don't want kids to be changing their backgrounds throughout the whole entire session, kind of keeping it like, you choose your background for the day and you're going to keep that. Otherwise, you will have students doing this and we'll be traveling all around the world. And this is actually a real picture. This is the donkey that I got to hang out with in Greece many, many years ago. But again, it could be about a story, right? Maybe you want students telling a story and they're using their backgrounds for it. All right. The way I got these backgrounds is I came over here, see where the plus button is, add virtual background image. I pulled in from my computer. So what I did was I either went onto Google and I saved an image that I wanted, or I went into my photos on my Mac and I pulled up a photo right in there. So, oh, it's me and my son. He'll be my background right now. It's kind of cute, right? All right. The other thing to note, in case your background doesn't work and you start to fade into your background, it is because down here, see where it says I have a green screen? If this is checked off, this is what will happen. And you will fade into the background and you will look weird. This needs to be off because I don't have a green screen. You might have a green screen, but if you don't have a green screen, you need to make sure that this is not checked on, okay? The other thing that is here is mirroring your video. So it depends on what you're showing. You might want to mirror your video or not mirror your video, but that is in here, okay? So I will keep my background off, but again, that is up here and that is in your virtual background settings, something that we use often. We'll do breakout rooms now, all right? So two things. My team was gracious enough to let me play with them before because I was trying to figure out how was I going to show you what it looks like to do breakout rooms from the host end, because I couldn't project from, you couldn't see a couple different things that I wanted to show you. So what we did was we used Screencastify to do a screen recording of what it looks like. So I have a video to show you. I'm trying to think, you know what? I'm going to show you the video first so you can see what it looks like from the host end. So I'll show you what we did and what it would look like from my end, pushing people out into rooms. And then what I'll do is I'm going to push us all out into rooms so we can get the experience of it. I see I'm being, go ahead. Oh, I can't see. Can't get the green screen off. Is that Rachel?
No.
Rachel, unmute yourself. Tell me what's going on.
Yes, that's me. Yeah, no, when I try to remove the green screen, it won't let me uncheck the box. It's telling me that I need to do some type of download on the computer. I'm not sure because at my computer, all the updates are current.
Can somebody else do me a favor and just unmute themselves?
I'm unmuted.
I can't hear anything on my end.
I'm unmuted. Can you hear me?
There we go. Okay.
Ashika, I hear you.
Hi, Rachel.
Hi guys. Okay, tell me what's up. What's going on?
Well, I tried to do the I tried also to do the virtual screen, the background, but your computer does have to be updated. So that was my story. My story was don't even think about it.
Yeah, mine is not letting me, like, I'm current with my updates. I just don't know why it's not letting me remove that green screen, that button, because when I did try and I played with my, my green screens, like the virtual backgrounds, like when I pop in one,
Mhm.
you can notice it's a half of a background. You see
I
my-
do. I see like, it looks like a cityscape or something back there at
It's
the
Disney.
window.
It's Disney World. It's Disney World, and then my window behind my head. So I couldn't. It's affecting that. So when I get the, I don't know. Is there another way, like a workaround, or there's not?
I'll get you some information on that because it happens more frequently than not. I'll get you some info on that.
Jackie, I was able to go and change the background by clicking on preferences under the Zoom tab at the top. I'm on a Mac. So at the top of the screen, it says US, and I clicked on preferences. And then there's another tab in there for backgrounds. I downloaded the backgrounds because I'm on a Mac. It's different than yours.
Mhm. I'm on a Mac.
Oh, you're on a Mac as well? You see the tab I'm talking about on the upper left, or I don't see it. I don't see it on yours.
You know what? Let's go back. I'm going to circle back to it. We'll go back to it after because I'm going to kind of go through the breakout rooms real quick. And then I want to get to some Q&A so we can futz around with this together, if that sounds good with everyone. Good? All right. So one of the other things to remember, I'm going to stop sharing my screen really quick. Nope. I'm going to stop sharing. When you're going to share a video on Zoom, it is very important to remember there's going to be, again, a checkbox at the bottom that says share computer audio and optimize for video. So right now, I'm heading back down to my share screen, okay? And what I have checked off at the bottom of this, which I'm gonna take a picture of it. I'm gonna screenshot it, and then I'll drop it in the chat. At the bottom, it says share computer sounds and optimize screen share for video clip. You need to have that checked off. Otherwise, you won't be able to hear a video that you're playing for students. So I'm going to practice what I preach, and I'm going to hope that my sound comes through the way it should. So I'm going to click over here. So you have this video. It's right here. It's called Zoom Breakout Room View Host. I'm going to click on it. I'll play it for you. When you're in a Zoom meeting and you want to start your breakout groups, you'll see that I have my participants right here. The bottom toolbar, we'll click on more, and we're going to head on over to our breakout groups. So me as the facilitator of the meeting can start these breakout groups. I can decide to automatically send my participants out and have 2 groups. I could do 3 groups, whatever it is. I can make those decisions. Or if I want to do them manually based on interest or topic, I could do it manually. And when I click create breakout room, I can start assigning folks to these rooms. So you'll see right here, I can click rename. We'll call this group 1. And I'll start assigning my participants. So I might add Chris and Jill to this group. Breakout 2, we'll call group 2. And we will assign Dave, Mary Grace, and Richard. We technically don't need the other rooms, so I will just go ahead and delete those, okay? And what I'll do now is I will click open all rooms. I could also recreate it if I need to. So guys, I'm gonna push you out into a room real quick. So you'll see I click open all rooms, and they're going to receive a message that says join, okay? So they're gonna head on over to their rooms right now. Me as the facilitator, I can watch on my back end and see who's going into their room. So I see Dave, Mary Grace, and Richard went over. Chris and Jill also moved over. And I'm alone in my room right here. As the facilitator of the Zoom, I can pop in to any room that I want. So I can click join room and bounce in and out. And as I'm doing this, you'll notice that I have Liz trying to get in, which is fine. She can pop in. This is the perfect timing. Hey, Liz. So what I can do with Liz, I'm recording right now. So when you have somebody else come into a room that is unassigned, you see right here, you can assign that person to a group this way. So simply click on group 1 and I could push Liz out. So that's the control that we have when you are the facilitator of the Zoom. And then if I want, I can simply join one of these groups, and I'll do it right now. Just give it a minute. And here I am in breakout group 1. Okay.
Yeah.
I am still in charge of the Zoom. Hey guys, still in charge of the Zoom. But now as the teacher, I can pop in and out of the different Zoom rooms. So what I will do is I'll click on breakout rooms, and as a facilitator, I could leave and go back to the main room, or I can go into group 2. So I'm going to click leave and go back to the main room. And what I can do from here, it's one of the best things that we can do, is we could broadcast. See, it gives you messages. I can broadcast. So I click here, go back to breakout rooms, and I could broadcast to my teams. I will pull you back in 1 minute. Okay? That will go out to them. They're getting that notification. Okay. I'm obviously going to pull them in a lot sooner than 1 minute. But I'm going to click close all rooms. They're going to get a pop-up for 60 seconds, okay? All breakout rooms will close. They will get pulled in at the end of 60 seconds. Otherwise, they're getting a notification that says go back to main room, and they click on that, and they're going to come back in. So what you'll see is that in a couple of seconds, they will all start heading back into this one main Zoom space. And here we go. So this is what we see as everybody starts coming back in. The rooms are starting to be closed, and I have my participants in here. So that's how we do breakout rooms. All right, that was the best way I could show you what it looked like from the host end, because you can't do it. I can't show you by just sharing my screen. You won't be able to see it. So let's play with it right now. I am going to send you into a breakout room for a couple of minutes, and probably like a minute or two, and I'm going to ask you to just talk to whoever is in your group. What excites you the most about using Zoom? Okay, and what do you think you could use it for? So what excites you? What are you going to use it for? Talk for about a minute or so with the people in your group. I'm going to push you out, and I'm going to do it randomly. So I'm going to set up 3 groups, and I'm going to push you out randomly. I'm not going to do the manual one that I did in the video. Okay, I will see you in a couple of minutes. So make sure you click on the join button to go head out into your group.
You guys are gonna reschedule with a rain date, like you're serious. Well, what happened was we just got there and it started to rain. So Liz, Ashika works with me at the rec. She was one of my teachers. So Liz works with Jill and I back at the office. Okay, how's things back at the office? Nice and slow, y'all.
All right. So I think we're waiting for a couple more people to come back in. There we go. Something to note. I'm recording this session. The only thing that's being recorded is the main room. So your breakout rooms are not recorded. Okay? Just keep that in mind when you're doing any recordings with your kids. Okay? Only recording happens in the main room, not in the breakout rooms. But pretty easy, right? It's easy enough.
Jackie,
Yeah.
Rachel had a question, and I thought the answer was no. For you to pop into a breakout room without the kids knowing you're in there. I was pretty sure you're visible, correct?
You're visible. Yep. Yep. You can't creep up on them without them knowing. They know you're there unless you've renamed yourself and then you show up in the room and then that's a workaround. But yeah, so I lost my train of thought. I apologize. So yeah, so it's pretty easy. I was able to push you guys out. I was able to broadcast. Did you see my broadcast? It pops up really quick. All right. You're also able to, and I'm not seeing it, so please correct me if I'm wrong. Is anybody seeing the reactions on their screen? Are you able to, because I have it on mine, you see the reactions. Okay, good. All right. So reactions are essentially your claps or your thumbs up. So if we're looking for some silent, acknowledgement, you can click on your round of applause or your thumbs up, or simply do a real thumbs up. Again, something that I tend to do myself because I forget that the reactions are there. Last but not least for today, you have a whole, you have the ability to live stream. Live streaming on here sort of it lives on the main platform. So if you ever had the need to live stream, if you had more than 300 people and you needed to kind of push out maybe a graduation or something of that nature, you can do live streaming on here. Not something we would do frequently, but you do have the option. What I'm going to do now is I am going to sort of stop the recording. I know there might be some questions that we have come up, but I am going to stop the recording. What will happen when I click stop